Um, so we can either do a continuation of last week, and for that I actually have sheets. Just thinking of the sheets here. I have the sheets here. Which way around they were? But obviously this way around. So last week we got to we'll do a piece from last week and then we'll go to this week. Okay, so I'm gonna scan. Okay, so it's not on the screen. I don't have the screen, but we're gonna focus on. There's Kuf Irons, page Kuf Irons Iron, you've got it there. And it's the part which starts Vizehu Isha Kisazriya. The second paragraph on the right column. So I'm gonna stop the share for a second. So it's like this. So last week, the Rebbe Reb Elimelech took us through the concept of Tzedek Kodesh Baruch Hu with the Yetzer Tov and Metzora, and the Noam explains that the whole thing of the Metzora is that really even though it's parshah Tazria, but he spoke about the Metzora, the parshah Metzora, and he explained that really what Metzora is that at least when it came to explaining the boils, the shchin, the way he explained it was that there's something warm below the skin. There's basar, and basar was indicative of a concept of a tzaddik. Basar, the idea of us being a tzaddik is somebody who is not malach, somebody who is a human, but uses his basar, uses himself, uses all the tools that he has to serve HaShem. That's what tzaddik is, and it doesn't necessarily mean he's successful. It means that that's where he's going. Amich kulam tzaddikim, we're all tzaddikim, we're all trying to do the right thing. We all want to get close. We don't always know how. And we're learning. We're always learning. That's why we're here. So it's all a learning exercise. And so what he went on to say is that he explained the words in the pasuk where it spoke about Baharis, for example. Baharis is the words of Behiros, to have clear. So through his avodah, it will become clear. It'll be levana. It'll be clean, that white to teshuva, and then it takes it to the step where the tzaddik is interesting. How do we know when the Noam Melech is talking about the tzaddik, he doesn't mean the tzaddik hadar or the rav of the kehillah, because he also refers to the tzaddik gomer amiti. So he refers in the I think is it in the copy here, Kofai and Zion, where he says, so if we go a second for Nachzor Linyanenu, to the paragraph beforehand, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines in, it talks about the Hainu HaTzadik HaGomer. So it refers to the coin being Tzadik HaGomer. So the coin is as it were the person that this Metzora goes to try and understand, or rather the Tzadik goes to the Tzadik Gomer Amitzi to understand, what am I doing wrong? How can I go right? Because there's only so much that we can repair in ourselves, and that we won't see for ourselves what else we can repair. We think we're doing the right thing, and that we're always doing the right thing, but there's always a bit more right that we can do. So that's how we know that he's referring to, when he says tzaddik, he refers to every that's trying to do the right thing. So the next thing going on says V'zehu Isha Kisazriya. So funnily enough, he starts with a concept of Metzora and he goes back to Isha Kisazriya. Now, how does he connect it to that? Kaperish Rashi explains Isha Mazras Tchila Perish Al Derech HaNizka. So the concept is what Rashi brings down is that it's toile exactly in the cycle. So if the woman ovulates first, then there's a zachar, and then if it's the other way around, then it's an akeva. So perish al derech hanizka le'er. So how do we understand it from a concept of what the Noam Elimelech explained of a derech of serving HaShem and doing teshuva and trying to achieve the right derech for each and every one of us personally, because my derech isn't your derech, and your derech isn't your derech, and we all got a different way of serving HaShem. So perish al derech hanizka le'er shechimam hayetzer. So what he discussed, this passion, the fire of the Yetzer Hara that we were talking about, Yaviu el HaKdusha. This fire, bring this fire to a holy place. And use these two Yetzorim, Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara, to serve Hashem together, an aspect. So people, the reason why people have trouble understanding what does it mean to start with Baruch Hu with my Yitzhak, because what we're looking at is we're looking at the packaging of the Yitzhak, the packaging of the Yitzhak. Oh, thank you. Packaging of the Yitzhak. Yeah, thank you so much. Right, sorry. The packaging of the Yitzhak, and with that, we're saying, how can I listen to the Yitzhak? The funny thing is that we know that with the Yitzhak, the packaging isn't the message. There's something beneath that's the message. So for example, sometimes some people think themselves, well, why I must have done it because I was a bit upset, a bit lonely, a bit this and that. And the only way that I knew what to do with myself or to express myself is by doing a certain Metzora. So the Yetzirah itself, we're told, comes to the person's consciousness when from the moment they're born. And the Yitzhak only enters it from a mitzvah. Why? Because it requires a certain level of maturity and intellect to understand to do the right thing. When you're young, you want to do what looks good, what feels good. And unfortunately, because of that, the Yitzhak got one up. It's got 13 years up on the Yitzhak. And so it becomes almost rote that I feel like this, I do this. I'm in a place like this. This is what I do. And really, it's almost that if we were born as a 13-year-old, we'd be very different because, well, I don't know about today, but or if we were born as a mature person, it would be very different because we'll be able to analyze and say, oh, I've done this, but this is not like me. Like, I don't like doing things that aren't the right thing to do. So why did I do it? There must be something else behind it. I wonder what this is. And you think about it, you think what's behind it. So the idea of Selak Baruch the Yitzhak, for example, so let's say someone does an Avera, and he realizes he did the Avera because he was only. That same feeling comes about again. Now he says, I've been here before. Now I realized it because I was only. So how do I say Baruch Hu? When people keep dropping off the thing like flies, they come on, they drop off. So how do I say Baruch Hu with this feeling of almost like loneliness? Maybe I should do some this. Maybe it's a good time, I'm not with friends, I'm not with whatever it is, or other. Maybe I should seek out somebody to cheer them up. There you go. So what you've done is you're aware of something, you're aware of something that's lacking. Maybe somebody else feels the same way. And by you trying to seek somebody else out, first of all, it's a massive mitzvah because you're preventing them from doing an avera, but you're creating a chibur. And there's no thing that's more special, which actually is a good introduction actually for what we're going to speak about in parshah Metzora. Nothing more special than 2 years sitting together, learning Torah, exchanging words, exchanging jokes, and really having a fabreng, as they call it. So because was rizos maybe l'day nikios, rizos alacrity. So usually within Avera, you want to really go and do it fast, and you won't miss an opportunity. But you bring that in to do the mitzvah. Yeah, bring that nudge and that impatience to do the mitzvah. What does this rizos refer to, the alacrity? It refers to this kind of impatience which fuels a fire of passion. So by doing this, it brings towards Nikias. What does Nikias mean? Cleanliness. So the Gemara Baba Kama says Yotza Ploni Nokim Chasa, that this person went clean out of his ownership and he had nothing left. It's completely purified. So the person, when they say somebody is clean, it means that whatever was there before isn't there after, and it's just him. It's just him moving forward. So the Nikios brings to a high level, which this high level is called in its name Isha. Remez al Hayetzahara Shahu Hanakvos Asmolis Kiyadua. The term Isha here is used allegorically. It doesn't mean a woman. It means that a certain aspect and a concept of woman, which here is referring to the Yetzirah, and Nakvos, which means the feminine, the receiving Asmolis, the left side in terms of, we're talking in terms of Kabbalah. You got the Asasirius, you got the left and the right sides, and each one connotes a different kind of message. This is not a place to go into detail, but let's see what he goes on to say. What it's saying is that if a person puts in the effort, the effort of converting that impatience and what they call it, this nakvus, this fire, then Yolda Zacha, then his actions will produce a chain of more good actions. The idea of Zacha is the giving action. So him putting in the work will set off a chain of events that will cause the giving to keep on giving. So use something positive, mitzvah geras mitzvah. If you put that warmth and that passion of fire that we spoke about, and it's then why will you have a long life? And why will HaKadosh Baruch Hu give you lots of tzchar in the world to come? Because it will set up a chain of events that will keep on giving, and it's like the gift that keeps on giving. Just you keep on going. What he's referring to, aside from the practical effect, is he's referring to in the upper worlds, there's an energy that's created now, an energy that's created because of this person's action in this world. He's creating it's almost like a supply and demand kind of thing, because now that this person is bringing more tov into this world, Baruch Hu needs to send more shefa to fuel that tov, to keep it in existence and to keep it going. So it's as if he gave birth in the upper worlds. And okay. I think this is a good place to stop for right now, because what we're going to is a very special part in parshas Metzora as well. So I'm going to just bring. Actually, no, I took notes, so I'm not going to go ahead. Here we go. Thanks. No problem. Good opportunity to pause for l'chaim. This piece it's got a lot of things in it, and particularly because it uses a word which we use very flippantly, not out of disrespect, but it's more because, one second, I'm just going to try and share the screen of the page. We don't really have a good way to describe it, and so it's for that reason that I decided to go and look up all other places where we find this particular word, to try and get a little bit of a deeper understanding on what this word means. So he says, Zois tia teras hamatzora. It's an interesting choice of words. We find the concept of Zois, like Zois chukas haTorah, etc. Zois chanukah hamizbeach b'yom mashachosai. And I didn't use those psukim for no reason, but we'll see in a second. So nearly says Noam Elimelech, Tahashchina, and this is the word I've been talking about, Tahashchina, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which here he's referring to in terms of the Shechina, Nikres Zois. The name of Shechina is Zois. Now, what does that mean, the name of the Shechina is Zois? So I looked up. I won't say from the Torah actually makes use of this word Shechina. It's not the Torah. It's not in Torah, Nevi'im, or Kesuvim. No mention of it, as far as what I could find. And no, I didn't painstakingly search through every page. I did a search in an app which has all of these, and it didn't bring anything up. It did bring up though midrashim and mefarshim, etc. So one of the interesting midrashim it brought down was that, and I'm going to actually bring it up on my phone because I can't remember it off by heart. I just remember the people that were involved. The medrash in Bereshis Rabbah tells us about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu was shaychen in this world when he created it. He could rest in this world. His presence, Shechina, the best word to translate into English, Shechina is presence in its most base form, but it's a good place to start at the beginning. And there was a problem because after the Eitz Hadas, after the Rishon and Chava ate from the Eitz Hadas, the Shechina, as it were, could not manifest itself in this world as it did beforehand. So the Medrash says like this. Just bear with me a second. So Ikar Shechina b'tachtonim haisa. The Shechina, really, the presence of this Baruch Hu was felt in this world more than it was felt in the upper worlds. what that means is obviously a reality that we're not unfortunately privy to, and Mitzvah Hashem, very soon we should be privy to again. Another mission sinned, then the Shekhinah, as it were, became removed one stage from this world by going up one Rakia. Rakia is the reality before this world. It's not a physical place. It's what when we talk about Rakiim, we translate it as skies, 7 heavens. So Rakia is a heaven. So 7 heavens, all this, which is a cute translation of it in a very basic sense. And it's probably the reason why when the Russians sent astronauts into space and they got out of the ozone layer, they said, "Oh, God's not here," because they expect to find him in the 7th heaven. So we've just gone past all the heavens. He's not here, not here. So obviously, it's a very basic and dumb way to translate it for those that aren't privy to be able to understand on a deeper level. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is manifest in this world where we find him, where we look for him. And obviously, he doesn't, there's no place where you're gonna, like a computer game where you're gonna go and say, "Oh, I'm here." No. It's a concept of personal experience and finding, and with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your avodah, you'll find the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Those that look for Kadosh Baruch Hu will find him. It's not the experience of which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not. It's not just out there. It's you got to work. You got to work for this. So in any case, it says after the mission was went away one level. Let's put it that way. It became more hidden. Then when Cain killed Hevel, it became more hidden. Then in the generation of Enosh, which was sinners, it became more hidden. The Dera Mabel was even worse, hidden again. The Ravi for the 4th Rakia. Dera Hafloga, another Rakia. Sodomim, when Sodom was at its worst, at its peak, it went away another Rakia. Mitzrayim, Me'avram, Nashvi, interestingly enough, we always knew that Mitzrayim was kind of like the pinnacle of Tumah. Which is why parshah had to be taken out, because otherwise we would have succumbed to the Tumah. We would have been completely, I'm going to make a new word, irredeemable, and there would be no way out. We say, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have taken us out, us and our children would still be there, because in the realms of nature, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu does this all the time. It's almost as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to respect the laws that he himself sets in place. So if something becomes Meshubah to the Tumah, then that's so HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yes, he took us out with Nisim, but literally at the last second. So that's it. The Mitzrayim basically pushed HaKadosh Baruch Hu away on the final kind of shift. And then Baruch Hashem for Tzadikim, came Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Levi, Kahas, Amram, and Moshe. Each one of them, further generations, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, back. So we see that this concept of Shekhinah is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not like I'm stonewalling you and I'm upset with you, so I'm going away. It's that by the generation, or by the person who is the paradigm of the generation, by them acting a certain way, it's not a place where it's fitting for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to have his presence manifest. They are not in the right mindset, so they can't access this. So whereas in reality, for whatever reason, maybe there were less earthquakes or less floods or whatever else is, i.e. that the more Ashras of Shekhinah there is, the more that nature behaves the way it's supposed to, and the more that you can see godliness in the world. It becomes more difficult to see godliness in the world when it's further removed from the person. I think the Moed Shemesh actually brings down, he says that in Perikah Avos, if you want to close the door completely, you can close it. Okay.
You can close it if you want. It's just gonna get colder.
Yeah. The Moed Shemesh, as much as there's a warmth in this Torah, it's still a bit cold. We're still subject.
Feel like I'm in Poland.
Yeah. Moed Shemesh.
Did you just come from Israel?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cold.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah. The Moed Shemesh says something really very beautiful. He says, and it really changes the way that you learn the Mishnah. We're going to start Perikah Avos soon after Pesach, every week at a parak. And I can't remember which parak and Mishnah is, because I'm not that learned to remember. But it says that Vasar Amoris, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world by 10 utterances. Vahi, etc., all the way to the last one. Now, so it says, why did he do that? So that we can reward the tzaddikim and we can punish the Rishayim. Okay, rewarding the tzaddikim, very nice. Punishing the Rishayim, we live in a reality, Baruch Hashem, where we can say, that sounds a bit cruel. Because Baruch Hu is not a sadist. And so a lot of people, when they learn this Mishnah, they learn that, the tzaddikim will get schar, and the Rasham, they'll be punished because they're destroying the world, and the Baruch Hu went through so much quote-unquote effort to create a world with these 10 utterances, and for every time that you do an Avera, you're it's almost like you've done 10 Averas, because you've smacked the Baruch Hu in the face, like for all the 10 utterances that he's uttered to create this world and paradise for you, and you've gone against it. And Moshe Rabbeinu says there couldn't be further from the truth. What he says is that Baruch Hu, with every utterance that was said, Baruch Hu created concealment. We cannot understand the reality before creation because this is all we know. It's like a baby until he's born cannot understand the world outside his mother's womb because it's beyond his reality. And so when we use terminology, we're using terminology in this world to convey a certain sense of abstract, a certain sense of feeling, whatever it is. But going back to what he said, because Baruch Hu, with every dibur, created another concealment and another concealment and another concealment, so that we can experience this world in this way. Why it had to be with so many concealments? Says the Morav Shemesh, the Mishnah tells us, when somebody does a mitzvah, what they've done is it shows their commitment to breaking through those barriers, and therefore they get more schar. But at the same time, the Rashaim get less punishment because the concealment is so great. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have created the world
more less punishment.
They get less. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with one utterance, the concealment would have been less great, and therefore it would be a lot less likely for them to sin because they would feel the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu a lot more. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it in a certain sense of favor for the Rashaim by creating all not because obviously somebody who's lahachris and somebody who's married b'Hashem and he does it on purpose, then I think that an individual like that, albeit he's obviously still succumbing to the Hester, he's realizing there's an Hashem. It's not because of him not realizing there's an Hashem. Yeah, I know there's an Hashem. I'm doing it. For whatever reason, this person is obviously very emotionally and mentally challenged in doing what the thing that he's doing. But we're referring to the majority of cases, the majority of people where unfortunately we do the wrong thing because it's Hester. We can't see it. It's not clear to us. And it's a beautiful thing because it just shows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Kolei Chesed, Kolei Ahava. The Mekabalim tell us that the word Ahava, in its sense we can't see the name, is very much similar to the Shem Yod Kei Vav Kei when it's spelled out, when it's said out outright. And there's a reason for that, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is Kolei Ahava. Any love that you will think of, whether somebody has a love for their parents, their siblings, their spouses, for their children, grandchildren, whatever else it is, for a piece of steak, it won't even come close. Through Shir Hashirim and different other texts, we refer to the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu sometimes as a love between a brother and a sister, as a love between a father and a son, between a husband and wife, because we're trying to relate to certain aspects which are way beyond our grasp, but it's the best we got. Because we're in this world, so this is all we have. I wanted to bring another story, but I think we should continue now because otherwise we'll get ahead. So this medrash tells us, the medrash that we learned is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Shechina, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence and revealness and accessibility, it's a good word. The Shechina is the accessibility of the divine of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's what it is, became more removed. So he says, V'yadua de Metzora hu moitzi ra. Metzora is actually a contraction of the words moitzi ra, bringing out evil. Tahanegoim, these afflictions, boim al lashon hara. Somebody speaks lashon hara, then he gets saras. After this person's Metzora has turned back from his way, what is teshuvah? To go back to yourself, to go back to a time where you didn't do this. And he will repair the things that he's doing. By doing teshuvah, by going back, and selecting a new way. Terosai here doesn't particularly necessarily exclusively mean learning Torah. It means choosing the way. Torah means the way, the guide. Choosing Terosai, his way in life, to be closer to the Torah, which is the way. Very few of us, our Torah, as in our way, is the Torah. We wish it's as close as possible, and we try to do whatever we can, and we educate ourselves the best that we can, because I didn't know is not an excuse when you have the option and the ability to actually get to know. But here when he's saying Torah Soy, the Torah of this Metzora, the way of life of his is something which is trying to get as close as possible to the truth. And by doing that, he's creating what it calls Tikkun Hashchina, Hanikra Zois. He's creating a tikkun for the presence in this world, the being plugged in, living in a reality where there is a Shekhinah. Because why am I doing this? Because there's a Shekhinah. And so what? And so this Shekhinah will give Nachas Ruach for this Shekhinah, for the Shekhinah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And really said this is the Sherish Avodah again and again and again. He says every single time, any good action that we're doing, yeah, of course, it's if you need to be motivated by the fact that you're going to be rewarded in the world to come, and that does it for you, that's great. But it should go beyond. Beyond that, what's beyond that? To be a better person. Yeah, great. It's still me. The focus is still on me, right? Because I want to be a better person. And that's okay. That is a good reason if that's where you're at. What's beyond that? There may be many stages, but the final stage is Lasis Nachas Ruach Liyotzai. Simply to give Nachas to HaShem. How that works, we're not here to understand. We're here to do it. And we're here to realize and be happy that when we're davening and when we're sitting here and we're learning, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is getting immense pleasure and sitting there and say, look at these people there sitting there on a Monday night when there's other things that they could be doing, and this Baruch has come back from yeshiva and there's probably many things on his laundry list that he wants to do, and he's sitting here and learning. We cannot measure that nachas ruach that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets from that. And as long as we're aware and plugged into that, there's already hashras hashchina right here, right now. Right here, right now.
You only get Torah from speaking Lashon Hara?
Lashon Hara. So it's interesting. It's an interesting question. What is Lashon Hara? Right? What is Lashon Hara? And for those that are on the Rebbe Reb Elimelech Habura, or subscribe to my YouTube page, feel free to ask afterwards. But I actually discussed this because part of the idea behind choosing Noam Reb Elimelech and actually learning Noam Reb Elimelech and particularly focusing on him as opposed to anything else, is that Noam Reb Elimelech actually went to the roots of the problem of today, Silas Chem and Avos Yisrael. What is that? So we know Baruch Hashem today, it's fantastic that people that have the Shmiras Halashon project, or they have people have like the 1, 2, 3 hours a day or days in the week where they don't speak Lashon Hara, and that builds up and becomes easier and easier. I always thought there must be an easy way to do this, because there's a story with the Chafetz Chaim when his Sefer came out. Somebody said to him, "I'm not buying your Sefer." Why? I said, because I can't speak. So it'd be impossible for me to talk. I'm so restricted, and I can't say this, and I can't say that, I can't say the other. And even if I want to say a good thing about somebody, I can't say it because somebody else might be in the room who doesn't like that guy, and then that guy's going to be spurred to talk to Shonara about the guy, so I can't even say a good thing. And I'm just going to have to sit there and be silent all day long. Although Gemara does say that if you value speech, silence is twice as valuable. So, which is almost like a lesson that you should be quiet 2/3 of the time, 2/3 of the time, maybe 1/3 of the time talk, maybe. But anyway, and the Chafetz Chaim said, no, this is just a book to teach you what to say. But sometimes by saying what not to say, you learn what to say. And then I realized that I find that Shmiras Halashon is so much more difficult in England. And I'll tell you why.
That's Lashon Hara.
I'll tell you why. I said it's more difficult, and I'm being Melamed Schos, and I'm saying that it's difficult because
More difficult than where? In Israel? Where?
Well, than in other places in the world. I haven't lived in that many places in the world.
Belgium, no?
I'm from Belgium. But the truth is, I don't know. I'm going to
Israel,
start.
it's much harder.
Let's stop with
No?
locations. Let's just say in this generation, I find it a lot more difficult, and I explain to you why.
Why?
The idea of Lashon Hara is everybody wants to share, right? We're all good people, yeah. We want to share things, and we want to share what's on our mind. And negative things are on our mind. That's what we want to share. So let's stop having negative things on our mind, right? Positive news doesn't sell. Good news doesn't sell. Bad news sells. That's why you rarely find positive headlines. Yeah, positive headlines may come page 3, page 5, somewhere in, yeah. But front page is going to be scandal, this person's done that, or this country's gone to war. It's never good stuff, which is why I find news very depressing. And so if you're living a reality where you're exposed to constant negativity, you will inevitably look for negativity as well, because that's almost like what you've become trained to. And so if you're looking for positivity, as the Rebbe Elimelech says at the end of his tefillah, that you're looking for the good, well, then Shmir Saloshan becomes much easier. I've only got good things to share. So the only halachas I need to know about Shmir Saloshan is, when can I share something good about somebody? And there's very few cases which you can't. So that's why I wanted to focus on Metzora, because really, his focus is to see the good. And when you see the good, Shmir Saloshan becomes easier. And therefore, Parshah Metzora, I think, is probably like the pinnacle parshah for the Metzora, because where does the Metzora come from? Seeing the bad, seeing the negative, and therefore speaking the negative. And so he says, he makes a ticket for the Shechina, which is called Zois. V'zehu Zois tia Torah Metzora. And this is what it means. Zois for the Shechina is tia, will be the Torah Metzora. The Hashoros Shechina will be brought down in this world through the way of the Metzora, through what the Metzora does. He does teshuvah through what he's done bad, and he does all that hard work to do good. That brings down the Shechina. And it's interesting because it's basically a reader of Tzayach Harliyah. That's what it is. He's gone down, he's done bad, but the effort that's required of him to come out of this pit of negativity and evil creates such awareness and presence in this world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that this is why it was designed, because otherwise people would be allowed to, head on a steady spiral downwards, and they would never be able to come out of it. The way of the Metzora will create Zois, and the day he becomes Tahar, and the day he does proper tshuva. What does it mean? When he will become cleansed of his sin, of his iniquity, of seeing the evil, seeing the bad, and focusing on the positive, focusing on the good, and appreciating the good in others, and appreciating the good in everyday life, because this person has now been sent out of his home, out of his community, and he's now having to reflect, oh, I missed this, and oh, I missed that, and I missed the other one. Ah, you're missing the good things. Okay, well, maybe your life wasn't so bad. And maybe it wasn't necessary for you to put somebody else down for you to feel good, and that you're able to do that by focusing on the good in your life. So again, now it's using certain terms which is difficult for us to explain in English. But what he's saying is that by doing this Hashot, this reality becomes united with Kudsha Baruch Hu. Kudsha Baruch Hu in himself is indifferent to what we do in this world. There are manifestations in this world of Kudsha Baruch Hu, and therefore he's got many different names, because according to the message you're trying to bring about, you're using it. So Shechina, for example, gave us this message on awareness of presence, of feeling presence of Kodesh Baruch Hu, which can only happen once you're aware, and then in your life and in your experience. So two people might be in the same room, and one might experience a Shechina and the other one might not. Why? Because the reality that one lives in is a different reality than what the other one lives in. Now, when it talks about creating a yichud, a unification, a coming together of Shechina and Kodesh Baruch Hu, what it means is that the reality as it is in this world becomes closer to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is above and beyond, that we cannot grasp, that we cannot understand. But our experience of the Shechina, an experience of awareness of the Shechina, helps create a world which is closer to what Kodesh Baruch Hu had intended. And that's when you say the Shem Yichud, that's really what you're intending to do. By doing this mitzvah, what I am actually doing is I am bringing my awareness and what I'm doing and my actions, and I'm uniting my thoughts and my actions. So there's no disconnect here. A lot of us, I'm saying a lot of us, I'm going to say me, I'm very often disconnected with my thoughts and my actions. So I want to do good things, but my actions don't always correlate. Sometimes I'm doing a mitzvah and I'm on autopilot. My thoughts aren't there, but my actions are doing the great work that they're doing, and I'm sure that HaShem always receives schar for that. But obviously, it won't compare to the schar I'll receive when I'm here, when I'm connected. And it's almost as if the thought and the action is reflective of Kudsha Baruch Hu and Shechinte. So Kudsha Baruch Hu is removed, like the thought is removed, the thought you can't see. Shechinte, the presence of Kodesh Baruch Hu in this world, is in this world, the world of action, the world of doing. So when I am doing a mitzvah, it's almost like I'm creating a reality where the thought and the action are united. That's why it's terrible to say l'shem yichud. It should actually not not focused, and it's a reason why some Hasidus they don't say Hashem Yichud, because it's almost like if you say Hashem Yichud on autopilot, it's like apikarsis, because like you're trying to say this is what I'm doing, but you're not doing it. You're like lying. You don't even realize you're lying because you're flying on autopilot. So you're just like. So it's very important that if you're going to say Hashem Yichud, you actually. So I only say Hashem Yichud really on the Seder night, because Seder night I'm not doing an autopilot, but I do it every year, maybe after the third class I'm flying, but at least in the beginning not. And it's also a very auspicious time to be focusing on things like that. But it's possible to say it like that. Now we're not going to get to the paragraph. We've got another 5 minutes left, maybe a little bit more. And I just wanted to bring down some other places that we find the concept of Shechina. So there's a Mishnah in Avos again, which says that Shnaim Sheyeshvin v'yesh b'neihem Torah Shechina shroya b'neihem. Two people that are sitting and learning. The Gemara usually starts with the Mishnah starts with 10, then goes down to 5, then to 3, then to 2, and then it says even 1. And so this concept of what does it mean that the Shechina comes down? Is it like, oh, the Shechina is like, I'm using a way to illustrate this, but obviously I'm just being facetious. The Shechina is like hovering up there and say, I was waiting for somebody to start talking Torah, and like, they're talking Torah there. Okay, that's a safe space. I'm going to go there. Maybe for some people that can't understand it, maybe that's a cute way of explaining it. But there's so much more, because by learning Torah and connecting to Torah, learning Torah and understanding why we're learning Torah, not just as a distraction. Because by the way, Torah can be a distraction too. Music can be a distraction. Things can be a distraction. They're not used as a tool, and you focus on the means as an end. Then first of all, it's an abuse of this particular experience. But it's such chaval, because if you just change your direction where you're going with, you can transform it completely. And coming back to it, what the Mishnah is saying, when two people are sitting, one person is sitting and learning Torah, it's because he's getting plugged in. So there's a reality now, and the Shechina can become accessed. And yes, it is a safe space for the Shechina. That's because the Shechina is being allowed to enter this place by learning Torah, by wanting to connect. So that's one place we find the term of Shechina in others. We also find I think I said before that it wasn't in Tanakh, but I don't think it's in Torah, but I think it is in Tehillim. L'shichnai sidrishenu. Seek His presence. You should seek HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence, and you should come there. Meaning, you should seek how can I connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What's the best way for me to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And sometimes you're faced with different choices of experiences that you can, to plan your day, and you think, okay, fine, what is the most opportune way for me to connect to Hashem? Now, obviously, it's very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is difficult to try to connect to Hashem by doing the groceries or the laundry. But if it's coming on the back of either your mother or your wife asking you to help, and it's followed by, of course, with serenity and without, I have other things to do, or whatever else it is, you have now created an experience through which you can access the Shechina. What is that? Peace of mind. It's those moments when we want to do the right thing, and we've got the plan to do the right thing, and we say, man plans and God laughs. It's not because God's cruel or anything. It's because you're not here to carry out your plan like you want to carry it out. You're to carry out your plan like Hashem wants you to carry out your plan. So He's going to send you what needs to come your way, and it's completely up to you how do you react. Something that I know very well told me, nobody can make you feel anything. And I didn't always like that, because somebody can really upset me what they say. But the fact is that it's more like nobody can control the way you feel, meaning, yes, they can do something which will make it difficult. It's going to up the ante. It's going to raise the incline of where you want to go. And you wake up in the morning and it's such a good day, and you go out and this guy suddenly cuts you off. Boom, illusion's gone, and you're suddenly not having a good day, and from there everything is downhill. Why? Yes, something very traumatic happens. So stop a second. Stop. because it's your frustration with the way that things haven't gone the way that you planned that is ruining your own. You are ruining your day, nobody else. You are ruining your own day, and it's up to you to change that. And so I think that when we think that way, and what we're looking at, it's a shame we couldn't get through more of it, but maybe I'll post the rest on the group chat afterwards. But when we think about the concept of L'shechnes B'Shanu, I should always be seeking Hashras Hashem. I should be trying my hardest to get to the point where I can experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, how can I experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I can experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu by learning a Nachman. I can experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu by learning a Black Gemara, even doing Shnai Mikra, saying can I experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu and playing with my kids, playing with my siblings, keeping them busy, taking them to the park? I don't know. Yeah, probably, because if it wasn't possible, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't have put that experience in the world. Now, obviously, there are experiences which are also to try and experience HaKadosh Baruch Hu through that. And the Torah has been very clear, and these are the ways that you should not. But boy, are there many more ways that you can. And and the Torah is not there to spoon feed you, to tell you, if your wife asks you to do the dishes, it's a mitzvah to do the dishes, because you, as an adult, should be able to realize and work out that this is a place for growth. And where's the Shekhinah? The Shekhinah is where growth is, because growth means that I want to align myself, my Torah, my way of life, with the Torah, with the truth. And so that's why Zois Tia Torah Metzora, what the Rebbe Reb Elimelech is saying, and obviously goes into a lot more detail, and everyone should also in their own time, is that really Metzora is somebody who's gone down, Metzora has gone down the way of bad, and he's now trying to climb out. And by climbing out, is showing that's the Avodah. It's almost like this is the parshah of Teshuvah, because we do find instances in the Torah where, we find the 5 in Noam and in Kippur for Teshuvah, but as far as and we find the concept of the Chet HaEgel and doing Teshuvah, but really as part of a parashah which teaches us somebody that has stumbled and the way to come back. Metzora, as far as I'm aware, is the only, aside from karbonos, which are seem to be pretty one size fits all kind of thing. I mean, yes, there are a lot of karbonos for different kind of thing, but Metzora in itself is there's nothing else that the person needs to do but their own internal change. Metzora it does bring a carbon at the end, but it's only after the work's been done. If someone does, for example, a shaygeg, so other than obviously them feeling bad about it, they can go straight to bring a carbon. They don't have to wait. Metzora has to wait, and there's a process, and there's a coin, and it goes out, and gets sent out. It's parashah Metzora is the parashah of personal journey for each and every one of us, and on a practical level for us, sometimes things are not ideal, and then we need to think to ourselves: Am I in the in the Metzora category? Am I now on my downward spiral that I need to get back up? Okay, maybe I am. So how do I get back up? And what am I looking to do? And where have I gone wrong? And then the best way to get there is to start focusing on the good. Because once you focus on the good, you become an engine for positivity, and you only see the good. And the more good you see, the more good you attract. And law of attraction is another thing entirely. We're not going to go into that. But we should all be zeicha to take the lesson of Metzora, and I'm speaking to myself mainly, to be able to take out positivity in everything, in every situation, and always be conscious and aware that is the only way to achieve true happiness, is by looking at the positivity and ultimately have proper Yeshua Das and give nachas to HaShem.
Right.
Questions?
Yeah, 1 second.
Look, it's not easy. It's not easy work. It's difficult, especially if you live in a generation where there's a lot of focus on negativity. It's almost like your brain has been hardwired to find negativity. And
Yeah,
it's work. It really is. And especially also if you think about it, not saying we should all go and send our children to Montessori schools, but thinking about how the way the grading system in itself means you've got this grade. What does that mean? That you are better than somebody else, or it means that somebody is worse than you. But why does it have to be that way?
It's not supposed to.
It's not supposed
It's
to.
supposed to be rewarded for effort, not for results.
Exactly. And in the world to come, that's how it will be. Which is why one of the Tanam Amoram, when he had like a literally near-death experience, and he went up to Shemaim, and the short version of it is he came down and they asked him, "What did you see?" He said, "I saw an upside down world." Because here there are people who become very successful with the most minimal of efforts. And so therefore they can't be rewarded for that effort because, they'll be rewarded for the minimal effort that they did, but it's not going to be reflective in their stature in the world to come. And there are other people which would have put so much effort into it, but in this world they seem not so. And the next world will be a different ballgame.
Yeah.
It's sobering to think of that, because on the one hand, for me, when I think about where I want to get to, and I'm like, it's all like I can't get there. I'm trying, but I'm looking at the view behind me, and I'm still as far from the tree as I was when I started. So like, where am I going with this? What I'm not realizing is I'm like digging a trench deeper and deeper and deeper every single time I try and walk. It's almost like it's not about the distance that you cover. It's about what you accomplish where you are. So maybe you are where you're supposed to be. And maybe you're never supposed to go beyond. But boy, what you can accomplish when you're there.
Yeah.